Hi and welcome to another edition of the Race Report. I'm Ron Hills. On this edition of the Race Report, we'll have part 2 of our interview with modified driver Jeremy Smith, and we'll hear more from Glenn Donnelly about his new Central New York Raceway Park. But right now, let's get right to some racing action to Thunder Mountain Speedway. First up, the four cylinders.
Adirondack with the early advantage. Beach right there second. Eric Rowley a little bit out of shape. Doug Gardner right there. Beach slides up the speedway. Comes back down, gets a piece of Gardner. Robinson went way up the speedway to avoid any contact. Eric Rowley back there in fifth. Adirondack continues to lead the way in that number 30 machine. 15 laps is the distance. Robinson looking to get by Gardner now. He got by Beach. Robinson, the proverbial favorite when he's out there in the front wheel drive four cylinders. Adirondack trying to break that streak. Here comes Gardner down to the inside of Adirondack to take over a second. They come out of the turn this time. I believe it will be 10 laps. Tough to see the lap counter. 10 in, 5 to go. Robinson again looking like the winner here. Unless something goes haywire on that R2. Gardner doing all he can, pressing the pedal down as hard as he can, trying to close in. 99C of Cameron Searle is going to be a lap car. Will that make a difference? Gardner trying to run the low side, Robinson the high side. Here comes the lap car. Where's he going to go? Gardner got a piece of Robinson that time. He's going to switch lanes. Trying to work it out of the turn. Cameron Searles. The Robinson car looks like it's skipping a little bit. He's going pit side. Thought he was going to get beat, went pit side. Now a bumper coming off the 99C. The Adirondack ran right over the top of it. And the caution is out. Green is out. Dave Jenkins, he's moved up into third now with the 31J. Out of turn 4 they come. Gardner with the white flag. 1 lap to go. Rowley trying to make a bid on Jenkins in the puzzle machine. Out of the turn they come. Gardner going to get the win. Adirondack, Eric Rowley, Dave Jenkins, Beach.
To XL 600 modified action. Here again are Leon Andrus and Brett Deo.
Out of the turn they come. Green is out, hammers down, and we're racing. Grabbing that early advantage is Doug Winhausen with the number 8. We got one fading to the back of the pack. Looks like he got her back going. Chris Jordan taking the 17 to the infield. Rich Green, the car that faded. Jordan just off the speedway surface. Winhausen, your leader. Camden maybe right there second. Winhausen, Eastman, Camden maybe. Eastman looking to get by down on the inside. Can't quite do it as Doug Winhausen still showing the way. Abby Price. Eric Boyd giving Abby Price a big shot right in the caboose. Will Eastman now to the inside. Picking up the XL 600cc modified out of Oneonta, New York, Will Eastman. Camden, maybe Tommy Shiner, Joe McCabe, Justin Shiner, Doug Winhouse, and Nick Chase.
Exciting action in the 602 Sportsman feature. Once again, Leon Andrus with Brett Dale.
Out of turn 4 they come. Green is out. Hammers down. Craig Turner grabbing the early advantage with the 0-0. There goes McIntyre as Bob Stahl. He went backwards there in the early. Dustin Jordan got underneath. Kinzer Hill way up on the outside in a 60X machine. Turner leading lap number 1 here. Daryl Krebs up on the outside, running second. Isaiah forward is third. McIntyre fourth. Here comes the 713 of Tommy Collins. He got to the inside of Dustin Jordan. Brian Mady and Kinzer Hill battling for position. Mike Nagel Jr. way up on the outside as he was in the heat race. Looking for some racing room up there. So we got him restacked, repacked. Turner back on the accelerator. Isaiah forward on the outside. Krebs down on the inside. Here comes the 6R. Cole Price back out. 4 laps down. He never actually took the green. Isaiah forward, your new leader. Tommy Collins looking way down on the inside, looking to get around Krebs. Brian Mady and Dustin Jordan did an inside out on the McIntyre machine. Black flag going out for the 6R. Never took the original green. He has to go pit side. Here comes Shane Spoonhour, continues to work the top side of the speedway. Time running out. It's going to be 2 laps when they come out of 4 this time. 2 to go. Isaiah forward. Look at Shane Spoonhour work the top side of the speedway. He's got to run. Trying to close in on Isaiah forward. Into turn 3 out of 4. The white flag gonna fly one more time around. Spoonhour on the move. Isaiah forward. Can he make that car wide enough? Down the backstretch they go. The $1,000 to win. Crate 602 feature. Gonna go to Isaiah forward. Shane Spoonhour, Tommy Collins, Brian Mady.
When we return, we'll hear from modified driver Jeremy Smith. More still ahead on this edition of The Race Report.
You're watching The Race Report on Fox 40.
"30 years of satisfied customers. That's the proud history of Brush and Pallet Auto in Candor. We have a large selection of cars, trucks, and SUVs. Here is this week's Car of the Week. We'll give you a $1,000 minimum trade-in, and we have financing options to fit your needs, including a first-time buyers program. Think you can't afford it? We think you can. Check us out at brush-pallet.com or visit us in person at 598 Owego Road in Candor, New York.
Unicorn Electronics in the Valley Plaza, Johnson City has the best pricing and selection of audio, video, and computer cables in the area. Don't spend a fortune on that HDMI cable for your new HD TV or Blu-ray player. Unicorn Electronics has quality cables in the lengths you need at a price you can afford. Expanding your network? Unicorn has the patch cables and accessories to make it happen. When you need to connect, think Unicorn Electronics in the Valley Plaza, Johnson City.
98.1 The Hawk, number 1 for 20 in a row.
This is Jason Aldean.
She's country.
This is Luke Brown.
And kiss tomorrow goodbye.
This is Charles, Dave,
And Hillary.
and we are
Lady Annabella.
Then I don't know why you don't take me downtown anymore.
Binghamton's Hot New Country.
This is Carrie Underwood.
Every tear-soaked whiskey memory blown away.
Binghamton's Hot New Country. 98.1 The Hawk.
Tell me a little bit about the cars when you drove before and the cars now. Have they really changed all that much?
You know, no. I have to say no. A lot of people like to lead you to believe that they have, but I had a guy that used to help us on our crew before, and he was helping a sportsman guy, and when he found out I was racing again, he said, Jeremy, he says, go back up to Thunder Mountain with a setup you had 10 years ago. It'll be pretty close. We didn't, and we kind of chased it, and right now we're back to pretty much what we used to run 10 years ago. So I don't see where some things have changed. The shocks have changed. That's the shocks, and I wasn't around much for the tire rules before where you could run whatever tires you wanted.
Right.
So I'm a little green at that. But shocks, we're okay with shocks. Scott Jeffries builds our shocks, so he knows the car's pretty good. So I just tell him what I want, or the crew guys will tell him what we want, and he tunes us in, so that helps.
Right, and that's what I seem to find, or the people I've asked over the years, they said the shocks have really changed the racing, the shock packages, and they pretty much can set them up now to your driving style, you know, whether you really like the lean, or if you try to drive them in straight, it's different driving styles, they sort of adjust that shock package too.
Yeah, that must be true, because every time I talk to Scott about it, every time he says, well, how do you like it to feel? I didn't really think about how it felt. I just wanted to go forward, but apparently it has a lot to do with the driver's feel.
So and this year being back, and like I said, I know you've concentrated on Thunder Mountain. I have seen you at I-88 a few times. Have you traveled anywhere else?
No, we're trying to. Our kids are really busy. My daughter does barrel racing. My son does football. My middle son and my oldest son does lacrosse. So there's something going on. My wife's out of town this week to a vet camp, I guess it is, in Maine, and next week I'm taking Darren down to Florida to a camp, and then the following week she's going to another camp, so I don't even know when I'm going to see her again. And then we stuff racing in there, you know.
Right. So actually, like a rain out this week was like a big break, you know?
Yeah, but we had the time. It was just me and the boys because the girls were gone.
Yeah,
so we actually went up to Fulton and watched up there and had a little fun.
Yeah, and like I said, that was, you know, some of the tracks you ran at before. Mm-hmm. I know you ran Fulton pretty much every week. Mm-hmm. A few years ago before you got out, and so now, like I said, we discussed how it was before, how it is sort of getting back. Tell us a little bit about the car itself that you have now.
It's pretty similar to the one we've always had. I always ran Bicknell chassis and stuff. The motor really kind of threw me for a loop this year, getting that kind of dialed in, but we had to make some carburetor changes and stuff, and now it's running. I had a lot of motor, and it was a little too much. I couldn't hook it up, but it's pretty equal to what we had before.
Who does the motors?
Doug Holmes, Finger Lakes machine.
Finger Lakes, yeah.
Yep.
So how about the crew and the sponsors and stuff like that on the car?
Well,
they're very important.
The crews. I'm just so happy with the crew. You know, to have my boys. And then there's guys, you know, like Tom Core that are teaching the boys. You know, when they're there, he's got a lot of patience. Sometimes I don't have the patience, you know. I remember one of the first races, I had to go out for a heat race, and the tires were all off the car, and where the boys are up and getting hot dogs, you know. So I was like, hey, guys, we got to figure this out, you know. So Tom kind of rallied them up and figured it out. But I got Eddie Maslin was my crew chief from before. He comes when he can. Jared Haas does all the setup on the car. Rob Dunham, he does all the maintenance and drives the hauler. And Jerry Conroy, Joe Buchek, Clarky does all my tires. My sons Matt, Darren, and Dylan. Dylan's Robbie's son. You're gonna have to ask me because I'm afraid I'm forgetting somebody. But there's so many guys that help. I have a wealth of knowledge, you know, of guys that'll come around and give us a hand, you know, or if we're struggling or whatever. Chuck Brady, over the years I raced with him. He's always snooping around the pits and asks me if I need anything. So we have a lot of resources and a lot of good people that help us out.
Well, that's a good thing. How about the sponsors?
The sponsors, that's just our construction companies, WD Smith, and then Tamco, and then Steve Bronson and his sons. They help us out. They'll come to the races and help too. So that's about the extent of that. So we've always been self-funded.
Yeah,
I never wanted to rely on anybody else to go racing.
Yeah, and there's there's good parts about that. You don't have to answer to a lot of different things, but it's also good that you can do that. Because there's certainly a lot of teams that can. It's good. It says that your business is doing good.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yep.
So, how about the number? That's always something unique. We like to do at the race report. Is there a reason behind the number 46?
Well, it's funny because we were just talking about that last week at the track. Even my sons didn't know where the number came from. It came from Days of Thunder, the movie. Was out when the car was number 46. That I think Cole Trickle was the name of the driver. And I just got into racing at the time, and I didn't really have any NASCAR fans or anything, so I said, I'll go with 46. And that's the only number I've ever really had.
Well, there's nothing wrong with it. Like I said, there's always seems to be a little story behind every number. A lot of times they use that number in football, or basketball, whatever. It represents birthdays or something.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty neat little deal.
Yeah.
So, I guess what I want to say, how would you evaluate your season now?
Well, I feel really good at Thunder Mountain. We may go back to I-88 this week, since we've got the motor calmed down and stuff, and the girls are out of town, so we might go over there and do that. But at Thunder Mountain, I feel really good. I feel we're probably farther ahead than I thought we were going to be. Over at I-88, I'm a little disappointed. The track is a lot different than when I was there before. That's kind of bothered me because I used to be fairly good over there, and I haven't even got in the top 10. So I would say we're doing okay.
Yeah, well, that's good. And like I said, there's got to be a little difference, being out, obviously. But they say it's like riding a bicycle. You fall off, you get back up, and you go. I got to believe it was a little more than riding a bicycle.
It was a little bit. It's funny because we ended up, the way things worked out, we went to I-88 the first night I got back in the car. And we went out and ran hot laps. And I just hung it out there and drove as hard as I could. We came back in, and I said to Clarky, I said, how bad are we? He says, you got the fastest lap. I said, you got to be kidding me. I got the fastest lap. So I was all excited then. Then it was all downhill after that.
Well, like I said, that means at least you were hitting the gas pedal. What do you think before the end of the season or at the end of the season, will you say, well, the season was a success?
Well, I'd have to say, I think I'm already there. I mean, obviously it'd be nice to pick up some wins and things of that nature. That would be a bonus, but I think that we're already there because, the boys are all working on the car. We have a good system. Jared does all the wrenches, the turning of the wrenches of the setup and everything. And Robbie and the boys take, care of all the maintenance. So the car comes in, it goes up, tires come off. They go and they do a bolt check, and guys put fuel in the car. And we have a nice team. And I think that's definitely been, I think that's my goal, if you will, to have a good organized team, because before we add another car to the deal, or cars with the crate class, we need to have everybody doing a job and doing what they need to do on the car and stuff. And we have that with a one car. So we'll see if, and we might do a little more racing next year, travel around a little bit too. I'm not sure with the boys what to do yet, because of the sports, but I feel my goals have already been met. Everybody's doing what they need to do. That's a success for me. And when you see smiling faces, and I'm out there on the track, and I remember when the kids were younger and they wanted me to ride roller coasters, and I was terribly scared of roller coasters, and they got me to do it, And it's like with the other night, you're out there and the boys are standing on the fence and you see them out there, giving you the thumbs up or clapping. You just can't help but put them, straps a little tighter and hang it out there and go. Because you got them watching you. Right. So I've already kind of achieved my goals when it comes to that.
More racing action from Thunder Mountain Speedway when the race report returns.
3 generations we've been building world-class American performance.
Like the new Edelbrock Power Package Top-End Kit, based on Edelbrock's powerful RPM crate engines. Each kit includes aluminum heads and intake, cam and lifters, gaskets, and hardware to build your own 400-plus horsepower Chevy small block. For 3 generations, it's pure American performance from the leader. Call now for your free Edelbrock catalog.
Edelbrock makes them right here in the USA.
30 years of satisfied customers. That's the proud history of Brush and Pallet Auto in Candor. We have a large selection of cars, trucks, and SUVs. Here is this week's Car of the Week. We'll give you a $1,000 minimum trade-in, and we have financing options to fit your needs, including a first-time buyers program. Think you can't afford it? We think you can. Check us out at brush-pallet.com or visit us in person at 598 Owego Road in Candor, New York.
Welcome back to the Race Report. Dan Creedon is on a roll at Thunder Mountain Speedway. He picked up yet another modified win. On the microphone is Leon Andrus.
Here they come. Green is out. Barry White grabbing that early advantage into 131. Bobby Ham right there down on the inside. Nick Nye. Look at Jeremy Smith looking for racing room. 4 wide out of 4. Way down on the bottom was Danny Creedon's 16X machine. Brent Wilcox slides up there. He grabs 4th. We got one around over there. Caution out. Caution on the speedway. Green is on. Hammers down. We're back racing. Barry White back on the accelerator. Bobby Ham way up north of the speedway. Down low, Nick Nye. Here comes Brent Wilcox. Switching back to his regular running. Used to be down on the bottom is where he is tonight. Nick Nye up there running for it. Jeremy Smith looking for some room. Colton Wilson way down deep. That's Dan Creedon in the 16X machine. Here comes Dan Creedon. Chad Cook going to try to go up top. Now going to cut down underneath the 131 of Barry White. Alan Barker up high. Barry White still keeping Cook at bay. Colton Wilson. Look at Alan Barker up on the top side. Trying to get a good run out of the turns. Creedon your second. Barry White and Chad Cook battling 3 and 4. Colton Wilson. Here comes Jeremy Smith back in the 46. Creedon now going to the top side. Going to go to work on Brent Wilcox. Danny Creedon's got something figured out here at the Thunder Mountain Speedway. Working that Smoker's Choice machine to the top side. New leader down the backstretch. Creedon, you're a new leader now. Wilcox second. Chad Cook is third. Barry White fourth. Jeremy Smith is fifth. Jeremy Smith looking strong there tonight. Chad Cook on the outside now. Got a run on Wilcox. Gonna take over position number 2 here. Nick Nye going around again. The 30-lap modified feature go. Gonna go to the Wizard from Wurtsboro, Danny Creedon. Second, Chad Cook. Brent Wilcox for 3. Jeremy Smith for 4. Alan Barker for 5. Barry White for 6. Colton Wilson 7th. 8th is Malcolm. 9th is Chris Wood. And P.J. Goodwin, unofficially your top 10.
Brian White is dominating the open sportsman class to street stock action and win number 2 this year for Trevor Dudley.
Mike Wilbur. Hang on, here goes Dan Force around. Carpenter involved. Mazzarese nowhere to go. He almost flipped her, baby, as he had some more contact. Down the backstretch they go, Trevor Dudley. Nat 2D looking for a roof on the bottom as Mike Wilbur going to lead lap number 1 here. 41 of Doug Stack Jr. Down on the bottom is Trevor Dudley. Shane Wolf up there challenging Damon Decker now. Shane Wolf Jr. looking for some racing room. He's up to the top side of Stack. Stack down on the bottom. Damon Decker, Jonathan Carr. Hang on! Right there, Damon Decker and Earl Zimmer nose to nose. As Decker went around, not sure if he got help, but Zimmer had nowhere to go. Got him right there, nose to nose. One more time around. Top three. Picking up the feature win in the street stock's going to go to the 2D of Trevor Dudley. Shane Wolf for 2. Jonathan Carpenter for 3. Mike Wilbur for 4. Doug Stack Jr. for 5.
A reminder, please join us every Monday night at Brothers 2 on Watson Boulevard in Endwell for racing trivia starting at 7:30. Each week we give you one of the answers. This week's answer is the Crazy Canuck. Come early, I'll be interviewing 602 Outlaw organizer Jim Stillo. And that's all we have time for the entire staff of the Race Report. Thanks for watching. Till next week, I'm Ron Hills, and I'll see you at the races.
Jimmy Zacharias in a trial run in the 00X machine. Some more lap traffic coming up for your leader here. Connor Spoonhour moving in on Hashtag, who's trying to get around the X machine. Zacharias said, I've had enough of this, going to the infield. The win in the Rookie Sportsman gonna go to Lansing Cummings. Second gonna be Nick Souls, Connor Spoonhour, Ryan Ellsdorf, Ho Chi Minh,